back at it again with another episode of Ascending Artists with Mass Mortal. How's everybody doing today? Today we got Eli on our Ascending Artist series. Reminds me a lot of like Cozy or even like Ali a little bit, but he has a really wide range of anything from sad, happy, depressed. I mean, you name it. I mean, he's just really wide when it comes to his music choices. Was really happy to get him on here. Probably two of my favorite songs are Attached and I'm Sad. If you haven't checked them out, all his links in the bio down below. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Before you do anything else, make sure to hit that subscribe button, be part of the Noti gang. You guys know the vibes. Episode 13, Ascending Artists with Mass Mortal. We got Eli. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Good. It was actually really nice that we were able to connect, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah. How did you get into the music industry?
Well, I've been making music pretty much my entire life, and I've always had that interest, and I've been practicing, since I was a very young kid. But the way that I actually broke into the industry was in 2017. So a few years ago now, I finally just had a song that I posted and it started to get some traction. And I had recently become friends with this Instagram editor who some people might be familiar with named Scout. His @ is SC6UT, pronounced Scout. But I had just become friends with him before I released this song called I'm Sad. And we'd worked together. He did an edit for one of my songs before. And then a month later, his Instagram exploded from like 1,000 followers to 25,000 followers in a month.
Geez.
It was absolutely insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. And I basically asked him, I was like, hey man, like I have this new song out. Do you want to make an edit with this? And he was more than happy to. And he used like Pink Panther cartoon and made an edit with it to the song for I'm Sad. And it just kind of went, viral or half viral or whatever you want to call it. It got a ton of views, started to get posted to all these other different kinds of accounts, repost accounts were doing it. So just kind of got popular in the meme space and the Instagram cartoon edit space. And then it translated over to YouTube. There were big YouTube channels, music channels, and that did lyric videos that started to post the song. And then a couple months later on one of the YouTube channels, the song hit 1 million views, which was just at the time I was getting like under 1,000 views per song or per video. So it's absolutely mind-blowing just in a small amount of time. And from there, it just started to translate over to my own YouTube channel where I started to get a lot of subscribers on there and just consistently posted music and started to build my following over the next few years. That's
awesome. So it's almost like a stroke of luck kind of that just it happened. And that's
a lot of things that just so happened to happen right at the exact time that worked together to create, some kind of magic.
That's awesome. That's actually that might be one of the better stories I've heard so far for an artist. So it's just cool. I love seeing when you have like a smaller artist at the beginning and then just basically out of nowhere just kind of blossoms into something great. So that's awesome. That really is.
Yeah. But it happened so fast, but also, I mean, I was on YouTube for like 10 years before that, and I had around 500 subscribers. So after 10 years, I had 500 subscribers, but then after that, in a matter of like 3 months, I had 30,000. So it happened real fast, but the buildup was, took forever. And rightfully so, because, my music wasn't very good. It wasn't at the point yet. It took me a while to get to the point where I had a song that was like kind of decent and finally just had one that resonated and, all the right things kind of fell into place for it. And that's how it happened.
Stars aligned for it. And that's kind of like that 10-year grind. And then it just basically, that's awesome though, because it like worked out. You know what I mean? So that's great to hear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are some of your biggest music inspirations, I'd like to say?
Some of my biggest inspirations are, you see, I mean, I've got so many. I mean, I'm sure every artist has so many, and there are a ton that I don't even necessarily like listen to anymore, but they definitely had such a huge influence on the type of music that kind of, got me popular or that I used to make, or that, even that I still have influence from them to this day, but it doesn't necessarily show as much in my music. But I would say the biggest influence period was probably Black Bear. And I found Black Bear back in like like, I don't know, 2015. I was like a senior in high school, and he wasn't too popular yet. He was just starting to pop off of that song IDFC,
Yeah.
and was just starting to get some buzz for him. And I just thought it was awesome. I don't know, the way that he combined, I mean, it was like hip hop, but it had so many different like edges to it that made it something like wholly unique. And his background before that was like primarily a singer songwriter, and was in like a rock band, like a pop punk band, which was also kind of some of the music that I listened to, because before I found him, I was doing primarily just acoustic singer songwriter stuff. And then I found him and started listening to him, read his story, and really resonated with him. And then that made me decide to start doing hip hop. And I started just making beats on my laptop with just like pre-made loops that you can like buy off. Like, I wasn't making anything original. I would just like buy loops and then like rap over it, and it was god awful. But that was kind of how it started. And then I remember Post Malone was like the next kind of big one. Right around the same time, he had White Iverson.
Oh, okay.
And that song, that song for me was like, just, I don't know. I mean, I never really heard anything like that, which, I mean, we all know Post Malone kind of created his own little niche and, whatever kind of rap hip hop that is. And so a combination of those two artists and the music that they released over the next couple years really formed my combination of, hip hop with, the lyrical aspect and the singer songwriter aspect, trying to write like meaningful kind of emotional lyrics with the hip hop vibe to it. And so those two definitely are very formative for me. But other than that, there are some other artists that I definitely draw from. Like John Mayer is a really good example.
Oh yeah.
I've been listening to him like my entire life. Really love him. And that's kind of where the singer songwriter aspect comes from. And Daniel Caesar is another one that I really love. I started listening to him in 2016, 2017, whenever he was first starting to pop. And Bring Me the Horizon is like my favorite band, I would say. And like they're, kind of like metal. They started doing like pop and different stuff recently, but I listened primarily, especially like in middle school and high school when I was younger, I listened to a lot of metal and punk. And so that's where kind of some of that influence comes from. And bands like Bring Me the Horizon and The Story So Far, you combine that with singer songwriter stuff like John Mayer and combine it with the hip hop stuff like Post Malone and Black Bear, and that's where my sound kind of draws from all of those things to create what I do.
I like it. And you can tell it's a good branch to basically pull off of. So it's a really strong group of artists there to kind of retain too. So I like it.
Yeah, they're all awesome. They're all really legendary in their own, what they do.
100%. Who kind of going off that, who would be your dream collab? So like, who would be that person you would like have to collab with?
Definitely John Mayer. Just because I think that he's, in my opinion, I think the most talented, the most skillful, the best at his craft. I think I love good songwriting. Just when you strip everything away, I like just the actual songwriting aspect. And I think that John Mayer, just almost every song that he makes is such a good song. Just the way that it flows, the framework, the lyrics, just the feeling that you have when you listen to it. Almost every single song I absolutely love. And I just think that he's one of the, one of the best songwriters ever, one of the best guitarists currently alive, in my opinion. And so for those reasons, he would definitely be my dream collab.
Yeah, he's honestly up there. I've been getting a lot of you know what? Nobody I don't think has mentioned John Mayer, but I've been getting a bunch of like Frank Oceans at the time. I know like the last 4 or 5 artists I've interviewed have all said like Frank Ocean. So nice to get a change up here.
Yeah, interesting. Frank Ocean. I like Frank Ocean. Yeah, I listened to a lot of Odd Future when I was younger, and that was I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop, but I did like Odd Future, when I was in middle school, so that probably had an influence on me as well.
I was about to say Odd Future. I don't know what it was, but yeah, that was one thing I was like heavily listening to when I was younger. So I was like, Odd Future came up. I was like, yep. But
yeah, we pretty much all grew up with that.
I feel like, yeah, for sure. What 5 songs, if you had to pick, inspire you the most when it comes to what you've been doing so far as an artist?
Right. So you know, some of my artists I mentioned earlier are going to be in that. My number one song, the song that has had such a huge impact on me as a person and as an artist, is Get You by Daniel Caesar.
Okay.
And that's how I discovered him. I think like early 2017. And I saw him in like a Twitter ad or something. It was some kind of ad, like something random that like usually you wouldn't even pay attention because ads are annoying and usually they're just, you know, no offense to people that make ads, but usually the music you find in ads isn't very good. But it was like some Twitter ad, him playing live at like a radio station, and he was playing Get You, and it just blew me away, like gave me chills. I was like, this is such a phenomenal song. He has such a great voice. I just absolutely fell in love. And that was a time in my life when I was, you know, it was kind of a difficult time in my life where I had just moved back in with my family after moving away to college, and I didn't like college. I ended up dropping out. I came back. I was taking a semester off, just started working full time at like a grocery store nearby. That's what I was doing. And I just didn't know who I wanted to be, what I was doing, had no success with music so far. And I would come home from work after working 12 hours, you know, at local grocery store, and would just lay in bed in the dark and listen to Get You on repeat. And that got me through that time period. And, you know, I mean, I just love the song and it really did get me through a lot. But aside from that, it really did impact me. And for whatever reason, I can't really explain, completely just changed the way that I thought about music and how I listened to it and how I was creating it. For whatever reason, there was just some magic in that song for me. And it really did change my life. Like it just changed how I thought about music. So that's my first big song. Another song I would share is Clairvoyant by The Story So Far, which is like you know, they're like a punk band, but this is like one of their softer acoustic songs, if anyone's familiar with that. And it's very pretty. It's got some really intricate finger picking on the guitar side. And there's the singer for that band, Parker Cannon. He's such a great vocalist, and I've derived a lot of my own vocal style from him. He, you know, it's kind of like a soft, like screaming, like shout, like you're really forcing it out, like, you know, like pop punk music, like you're shouting, but it's very melodic as well. And so, you know, you can definitely hear that in my music, I feel. But that song had a huge impact on me musically, and I would play it on, it was like one of the hardest songs that I learned on guitar when I was younger, growing up, learning guitar, and really kind of determined the way that I actually just play guitar naturally. Whenever I write songs, a lot of my songs are, the way that I write music is influenced by that, and the way that the finger picking in that song and the way that his voice projects what he's singing. That's a really great song to me. And and the third song that I would share is called If I Get High by a band called Nothing But Thieves. And I heard this song a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It didn't change my life or anything. It's just a freaking awesome song. It's an amazing song. Every single time I listen to it to this day, gives me chills down my spine. It's so beautiful. He's got this awesome falsetto when he's singing the chorus. The lyrics are really powerful. He's singing about like astral projection and trying to visit one of his dead family members. It's really touching and emotional. That's a great song.
I like it.
Are you familiar with that band by any chance?
I'm not, but I'm going to look them up after this. Like after you mentioned
awesome.
that.
I think they're British. They just started to get, that song was really big, and they started to get really famous here in the past few years, but they're a really good band. And another song would be, it's called Crooked Young by Bring Me the Horizon. It's probably one of their less popular songs. It's on their 2013 album called Sempiternal. And the reason that it's not necessarily like my favorite song by them or anything like that, but when I was younger and growing up in a religious household and struggling with religion and what I believed in, this song Crooked Young, the lyrics are kind of about just believing in what you want to believe, expressing yourself, and just determining who you are, and not believing things just because, you know, you're told to believe it. And that just really spoke to me as a kid. And, you know, great song, but lyrically it really impacted me and helped me along my own intellectual journey and trying to determine who I am and what I believe. And the final song I would share would be Gravity by John Mayer. Just, again, awesome song. It's such a beautiful song. His guitar solos is awesome. It's so well written. The transitions, I love good transitions in songs. And that's something I've been trying to work on forever, because I feel like transitions between different parts of a song are really difficult. And John Mayer is like the king of that. And that song is just a masterclass in songwriting and transitions, and just his guitar voicings. It's really incredible. So those are like my top 5 songs that I would say have really impacted me, or that just songs that I love.
Solid. Okay. Very, very solid list, and a very good explanation with almost all of them. So I'll give you that for sure. So
yeah, man, I love music. I don't mess around.
love it. I love it. For your fans, what do you want your fans to kind of get out of your music? Like, what do you want them to pull out?
I would say it's probably different from every album, or even really every song. But the way that I do albums now, every album kind of has a different intention. I think when it really all boils down, what it comes down to is, I just want people to listen to the song. And I mean, this is going to sound basic, I guess, like obviously, but I want people to just like what they're listening to before anything else. There are people that really like lyrics in a song, and maybe they really like the instruments, and everyone has their favorite aspect. Growing up, I've never really been a person that cared too much about lyrics. I like lyrics, and great lyrics can be really emotional, and like in some of the songs that I shared, lyrics have definitely had an impact on me. But what I look for most in a good song is it awesome to listen to? So whenever I make my music, the bottom line for every project, everything is I just want it to be a song that you can listen to and enjoy. And that's it. And sometimes, like, my opinion is that I don't think that every song needs to be anything beyond that. It can just be fun, or it can just be, you just listen to it, just sounds great. That's it.
Exactly.
Regardless of the lyrics, regardless of anything else. Not every song has to have some kind of deep meaning for it to just be a good song that you can listen to when you're, riding to work, driving in the car, whatever. But aside from that, I definitely have my songs and my projects where I really am thinking about what I'm writing. Like, I am really concerned with what I'm writing and what I want people to think about whenever I write lyrics for certain songs. So there are songs where I am really concerned with what people are getting out of it, and what I'm sharing with the world. But also, I have songs where the lyrics, I don't even agree with my own lyrics, because I'm just like, it's just, I feel like it's an expression of art. Like, you feel a certain way, or you have a certain idea, you get certain thoughts in your head, and you just are pursuing that intellectually in the form of, music as your medium of art. And you're able to just explore those themes without necessarily believing in it yourself, I guess.
Good way to put it.
Yeah, so I definitely have some songs like that, but yeah, I mean, it's a mixed bag. I have all sorts of different songs where, some of them I really do try to craft very meaningful lyrics, but others I think are just fun, or they're just good songs to listen to.
100%. I like that. So I know you mentioned to me you got something coming up for the fans and something dropping, but do you want to kind of shout out kind of what you have coming up right here in the near future, or even what you got planned in 2021?
Yeah, sure. So I have an album coming out on here, just a few days, on July 16th, 10-song album. We've released 5 singles for it so far, and have a music video drop in on the same day for one of the songs. It's very funny, but I also am really, it's kind of a funny song, but the song itself, I think, is well written and well produced. It's a beautiful song, but while also being kind of silly, and the music video goes with that. And beyond that album, I'll be releasing a single every month for 3 months, leading up into another album in November. So I've got a lot of stuff coming every single month, except for December. This year we'll have new music from me.
Sweet. That is an awesome thing to hear. So, and guys, if you haven't heard Eli before, I'm going to plug everything down below in the description. But thank you very much for coming on, Eli. I appreciate it a lot. So it was a blast having you.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me and taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for watching. Make sure to hit all the links in the bio down below. Subscribe. Be part of the Noti Gang. You guys know the vibes. Peace.